We're going to do it tonight. We're going to kick down some readings and kick it up a notch while we kick it down. This is Street Level Spirituality. Thank you for joining us. We are live on YouTube. Anybody who would like a reading this evening, then you just let us know. We're ready to go. Yeah. Thanks for joining me. I've just been focusing on doing more tarot and astrology. This whole virus thing is, I think, brought a lot of creativity on people, right? Priscilla, do you know your astrology sign? Do you know much about astrology, or do you know your, say, your ascendant or your rising sign in astrology? If you know anything like that, and you want to share that, that's helpful also, because I can kind of figure out where your planets are, what's going on there. Well, I'll tell you one thing. You have some of the best manners I've ever seen on YouTube. Very kind. I appreciate your kindness and your words. Taurus! Well, you got Uranus and Taurus. And today, Mercury is aspecting Uranus and Taurus. Uranus is the planet of sudden changes. And so Taurus is in general, since 2018, in the spring of 2018, have been affected by these sudden changes of the revolutionary planet Uranus. And the last time it was in this configuration was the Great Depression and World War II. So as you can tell, we're going through lots of interesting Earth changes, right? Earth signs. And I will say, happy birthday. We've got the Page of Swords. What a wonderful card. This is somebody who's learning really how to master their mind and wield their mind in a way that's really balanced, right? But it's a page. It's not a master. It's not a knight. It's not a queen. It's not a king. It's somebody who's on a new journey of their mind, right? So this is wonderful. Especially if you have these cards of mental ruin and mental bondage here and coming out of that. So there's been a lot of mental energy, a lot of thinking, learning about how your thoughts affect your reality, and possibly some words with others or communication stuff going on with other people. So let's see what's going on here. Now it is interesting. You have Mercury right now conjunct Uranus and Taurus right now, and you have all these aspects in your reading here that have to do with communication, which are swords. So now that we've got your cards out, let's dig in a little bit more and see what some of these themes are. Let me put away my music player here so I can kind of see what's going on. Give me a quick breezy moment. All right, so let's look at this here. We've got the nature of the reading. You've got the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. The Knight is somebody who's kind of coming forward with some sort of action, but in reverse, this is a little bit of a feeling of boredom or just feeling kind of stuck, right? Which I think might have been what you said to me when you first came in, right? A little bored, a little stuck, just feeling a little restless, in general. Now let's try to get in tune with what's going on here. So we have the Queen of Cups in reverse, aspecting this. The Queen of Cups is in reverse is a little bit of emotional insecurity or codependency. So, what I'm feeling here is that if this is what's influencing this feeling stuck, is there might be something you're relying on emotionally, right? Or somebody you're relying on emotionally. It could be a financial reliance. It could be an emotional reliance. But, you're kind of maybe comfortable. But in this comfort is also the price of it is boredom, right? So we're getting our needs met in some indirect way, but our needs aren't really getting met because it's not necessarily fulfilling us on a spiritual level. It's fulfilling us maybe in a material or a temporary level, but not necessarily, on that deeper, enriching level. So what we want to do is we want to get out of this and get creative about how we move this energy so it's not stagnant, right? So anyway, so that's the nature of the reading here, is just this feeling of stagnation that's based on a reliance of some sort of resource, whether it be emotional or material, on someone or something else, right? So that's the nature of the reading. Now, this card here, this is the message from the angels, right? So this is a message that's going to provide some insight, right? Some insight that will steer you in the right direction. This is your superconscious. This is the angelic or divine state, giving you, providing an opportunity for you to receive a message that will help shake things up and kind of lubricate this stagnation, so to say, right? So what we have here is the Four of Swords, and swords represent the mind, right? You see this fellow and he's laying down, and he really doesn't have anything to do with anything outside of himself. This is all about his inner directed focus, right? He's laying down. It's all about him. Now, this is a card of deep introspection, taking some time to meditate and taking some time to really reflect on what's happening. Sometimes we get comfortable and we kind of can frame all these mental situations in a way that we get by, right? But getting by is not good enough, right? We don't want to get by. We want to really take the time to truly consider all the realities of our situation so we can consider all the options, right? So the Four of Swords, in this particular message here, I would take to really look at, this is some sort of contemplation or recuperation or rest that has been needed for a long time. So maybe it is a great time to just take a break, right? So even though you still feel a little stagnant stuff, just take a break, go inward and reflect a little bit and see what possibilities and options there may be to you that you haven't quite seen yet, because you haven't taken that time to yourself. In the recent past here, we have the Seven of Cups. And again, these are readings for spiritual growth, so, I just read them the way I see them, so hopefully it's something beneficial here for you. You get something out of this. Seven of Cups is always an interesting one. You have all these options, but you don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes our fantasies can lead us down paths that don't always serve our best good. The Seven of Cups in reverse in this situation is about, this is in the recent past, so this is moving away from some sort of temptation or illusion that you had about something. But now you're still feeling a little stuck. You're still feeling. It's almost like the sheen or the attraction. Well, you're a Taurus. Of course, it's the best thing you do is rest. That's wonderful. I don't think this card is particularly about rest as much as it's about taking the time for inner reflection, right? So really getting to know yourself. And really weighing out and looking at what opportunities you have to move this energy of stagnation, right? It's like really taking the time to consider these different options. In this card, like I'm saying here, is like it's almost like the sheen or the glamour of whatever situation you were in kind of wore off, and now you're just kind of like, I don't know if you're. There was some lifestyle choice. I don't know if it's a relationship or some sort of lifestyle thing that sounded so good, and now it's just kind of not really paying out the way you want. Now, what's motivating you on the subconscious levels? This is kind of why you're looking at this issue here of stagnation. Is that what you really want to do? Is you really want to create and cultivate strength, right? So, and this is a card from the Major Arcana, and the Major Arcana is. These are significant life changes that will forever move you forward on your path. So there's this very deep part of you that's recognizing this need to cultivate strength, and it's also kind of, she's petting the lion. That's kind of symbolic of us kind of calming our own animal-like nature, right? So there's something that can be tended to and soothed in regarding the situation within yourself, right? So there's some sort of, just imagine, if you had your own little inner beast, what would that little inner beast look like and be, and how do you tame it and how do you soothe it, right? How do you create a soothing, emotional dynamic with yourself, a relationship with yourself? Now, coming up in the near future, we have the Ten of Swords in reverse, and if it's upright, it's ruin. It's mental ruin, right? It's all these swords got you, it's too much, and you're out. In reverse, it means you're moving away from that. And you're moving away from this kind of thinking and mental processes, whether it be conflict with other people or conflict within your own mind with yourself. You're moving away from that. You're seeing that it's not really paying off. It's not really meant for you. Your attitude in this situation is you're not wanting to connect or make an offering with somebody else. So, I don't know if this is, are you in a stale relationship? I mean, what's stale here? There's something stale. There's something that's not paying off here. I don't know if it's just you're sitting around at home, you're not really happy with your relationship, or you're at home with your parents, or there's something that just feels stuck, or you're just by yourself and it's just not happening. Anyway, there's something that's not moving forward. So you're either with somebody or you're not with someone, but if you are with somebody, you're not connecting with them or not wanting to connect with them. And if you're not with somebody, you're not wanting to connect out there. And so I think this is a great opportunity to look at why you're not wanting to connect with others. This is always a nice key card in a reading, is the High Priestess. And the High Priestess is also another major arcana card. So this is your environment. Your environment is kind of the subconscious mind. It's intuition, it's mystery. There's some sort of deeper situation that's occurring around you. Somebody might be connecting with you in the spiritual realms. You might have an intuitive connection with somebody else that you're not necessarily willing to really participate in. You just got out of a bad relationship. Well, yeah, so you're just not ready. You're just kind of like, right? So, and then you have this here. Now, do you have any kind of psychological bondage with this person? Because there's a lot of mental energy here. And with the High Priestess, is what I'm getting is it's almost like this kind of intuitive energy that's still bound to you, right? So it's like, I don't know if are you kind of reliving or replaying the energy of this dynamic between you and this person? I mean, is this kind of weighing you down a little bit? Because I have a feeling that you have an intuitive connection or psychic connection with this person that's kind of bogging you down or a little parasitic. You guys might have some interesting energy together. I basically, what I'm feeling right now is he's zapping your energy, or the more you're thinking about it, it's zapping your energy. But with this Ten of Swords, that's turning around, which is really good. I don't think this kind of feeling zapped all the time thing is going to last forever, is what I'm saying. Your greatest hopes and your greatest fears is the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is, it's a feeling of isolation or restriction or imprisonment. So you're like kind of like you're not happy that you're kind of in this sense, this feeling of isolation, or you're worried that you're gonna make your sense of isolation harder than it needs to be, right? It looks like you're just kind of funked out on this whole dynamic of what you've been through. Now, your outcome card is the Page of Swords, and this is a wonderful card. This is somebody who is renewed, right? It's like I said, it's not a knight, it's not a queen, it's not a king. This is somebody who is learned to work with their mind, right? And is learning how to wield their sword appropriately and effectively. A sword cuts both ways, right? It cuts you can create something beautiful with a sword, or you can kill someone, right? So, you know, here's this beautiful you who's stepping up to the plate and saying, you know what, I can do this. You know, I went through all this ruin and all these challenges, and you know, you've been feeling lonely, but you know, I think what's important for you to recognize is that, you know, what's self-imposed is unnecessary suffering, whereas, you know, we all have to go through our own feelings of loss and all that stuff that's natural, you know, through challenges. If it makes you feel any better, I just split up with someone on Friday, so and yeah, you just feel funky, you know, all that energy between the two of you can be, you know, kind of mixed up in weird ways. Anyway, so, you know, this is somebody who's renewed, you know, this is somebody who's taking charge of their mind and not letting the darkness get the worst of them, you know. You know, keep in mind that, you know, there's a reason why people talk about faith a lot, you know, there's a reason why there's always a silver lining, all that stuff, because you know, this is all leading you into something, and I think you're just kind of like over it. You're just like, nah. Let me pull another couple cards for you here and just kind of see where this is leading from you taking charge. You got the card of Judgment, yet another significant major arcana card. So this is rebirth, you know, this is being called back to life, you know, so don't worry about it too much, and it's almost like you're creating this mental story in your mind that things are going to be much worse than they are, I think is what I'm saying. It's your second time going through something like this. Is that recently? Or same person, different person? Back to back? Yeah, see, you're over it. You're just like, no, no more. Now, I was married to a narcissist, and I didn't realize it when I was married to her, and it destroyed me. I mean, just completely destroyed me. I mean, really, really hurt on a very deep level. And, you know, I feel this way. You know, I haven't been willing to really open up. I mean, who wants to open up when all you're going to do is be hurt and talked down to? And, you know, it's just, you know, it's been a process of really learning to recognize people's values before you get into a relationship with them, right? So you got to recognize what they value, what you value, make sure it's the same. When people don't have the same values, they don't get along, you know, they don't work well together. So, you know, it's just part of growing up. I don't know if you're younger or older, but, you know, if this is kind of a new thing for you, I'm sorry. Life can be challenging sometimes. But, you know, I really get the feeling here that, you know, you're perfectly capable of managing this situation. It's not very convenient. You're definitely heartbroken. But this is really, you know, I feel like there's some sort of intuit. This is like the highly intuitive card and in your environment. So there's somebody around you that is tuning into your energy, or you're tuning into their energy. There's some sort of psychic connection between two different people here. So just be aware, you might need to cut some psychic cords, or you know, or be aware that you need to keep your consciousness at a certain frequency of optimism, or you can get kind of negative energies kind of want to hang out with you, so to say. And I'll pull one more card for you. So you got this new wielding your new sword, you know, being reborn, and then you've got the Seven of Swords here, and here's somebody who's really happy and appreciative of their mind. You can see how happy they are. They're kind of like holding their swords, kissing them. So, you know, you're gonna be able to kind of get your mind straightened out here, and I think you're gonna be just fine. So don't worry about it too much. Everything's gonna work out for you. How do you do that? If you're talking about the tarot readings in general, how I do them, you know, it's funny. This isn't what I do. I have a career that's been plenty successful. I do really well, and I do brand development, product development, graphic design, and stuff like that. And you know, I just reached a point where I had to honor who I really am and what my true path is, and I wanted to find a way to help people through their life experiences. I don't think that we need to be here and feel ignorant or not understand why we're here. I think all the answers are here. It's in wisdom. There's old books, there's old writings, there's teachers. If you get away from all the mainstream noise, you know, there's real wisdom out there. Tarot and astrology, I just use them as divination tools. They're tools to just kind of help open up your intuition, and it gives you an opportunity to really tune in. And once you tune in, you can start to receive a story, right? So, how do you cute this spiritual? Oh, cut the. Oh, here I'm just going this long rambling story. Sorry, well, I guess you don't want to hear that. So, how do you cut it off? Well, I mean, it's a process of kind of you know, visualization. You know, you can really tune in, and it's just learning to feel and see if there's connections. You can, to make it easy, you can sleep with, like, you can put black tourmaline in your room, which is a stone. There is an herb called rue, R-U-E. You can get a little rue plant and cut a little sprig off and put it in your room. You can do a creative visualization. You can find creative visualizations online for it. Cutting off energetic ties. You can verbally say, hey, you know, I release, you know, blank blank blank's name, you know. There's all sorts of ways you can do it, but mostly it's just making actualizations out loud. If you verbalize something, it's a lot more powerful than just feeling it or thinking it. But also it's a choice to really look forward, right? So really seeing the positive and kind of almost like fantasizing about this new life you can create for yourself, and creating that beautiful story in your mind, and looking forward, not kind of stagnating where you're at. So anyway, sorry you're going through that. It sucks. I know the feelings. But hopefully that was beneficial for you, and enjoyable, and at the very least entertaining. I always appreciate a like or a subscribe. That's always supportive and helps the channel. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up that reading for you, but I hope that's helpful. And you know, just look to what inspires you. You know, there's got to be something that inspires you. There's got to be. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. There's got to be, you know, maybe just getting outside a little bit, going on the bike ride, walking, running, petting the cat, right? Anyway, thank you, Priscilla. Thanks for stopping by. I've done a whole bunch of readings today, so I'm going to kind of wrap it up for the evening. But anyway, again, thank you for coming by, and good luck on your journey. Oh, wonderful. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And yeah, subscribe, hang out, and you'll get notifications. I'll be back on soon. I'm a little tired today, so I'm going to wrap it up for the night. But come back anytime for a reading, and I really appreciate it. Take care, Priscilla. Have a good night.